Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In this video I'd like to look at what I call my Holy Grail trade setup using our MTP RT add-ons in NinjaTrader. As you can see, I've got a NinjaTrader chart here. Standard MTPredictor users will look at the STF color for defining the large degree trend and as such their trade selection, and then we'll use the standard trade management guidelines for managing their trade. However, there's a big trade setup that the advanced traders or more experienced traders among you can look at, and that's what I call the Holy Grail trade setup. And this particular TS1 cell here is a good example of it. If I put the analysis on this chart, you can see first we're actually against a blue STF, so standard traders would have avoided this. However, I'll show you why advanced traders would consider this in the future, and standard traders would have come out here at a plus 3.7R profit at the first target. However, the more experienced traders among you would be looking for this third target down here, turning a potential plus 3.7R profit into a nearer 10R profit. The reason for this is because with the Holy Grail trade setup, we are considering that this particular trade setup here, which can be TS1 or it could be a TS3 trade setup, is actually a wave 2 in Elliott wave terms, and then following a wave 2 we're anticipating a strong wave 3 type move, and this means we use the third profit target here, which is actually our typical wave 3 WPT. So what criteria do we need to look at for this? Well, the first criteria we need is that we have an important high or low where the whole sequence starts. That's this high of the day up here. So how do we decide, or how do the advanced traders decide whether this is an important high or low? Well, it all boils down to whether we're at larger degree support or resistance on the higher time frame. So for the 3-minute chart, let's go to a 15-minute chart and see what the situation is. If I go back to the last major pivot, which is here, and I place the DP on, so again right mouse click, DP, you can see that this DP here is, you can see it just on the edge of the chart here, is actually on the chart in advance. Now that's the important thing about the advanced tools in the MTPredictor software, is rather than using lagging indicators, which 90% of the trading population work with, these are leading indicators. In other words, they're on the chart in advance. They're there before the market even gets there, and that's important, so you're prepared for these levels. In fact, actually, if I just increase the right hand space on this just for a second, you can see that here we have it. In fact, I'll bring this down a bit. So here's this DP level on the chart before the market gets there. So yesterday the market opened, rallied up, but can you see how it rallied up and hit this target? Therefore we knew in advance that we're anticipating a 15-minute high here, and that is exactly what happened. And at this point in time the market had then declined down, and if I go forward to about here, this is where our TS1 sell setup unfolded on a 3-minute chart. So at this point in time we knew that the market had come off, in other words had declined off an important 15-minute high. So if we now go back to the 3-minute chart, and I'll take it back to here, we have the situation where we now know this is an important high because it's a 15-minute resistance. We now look for the initial decline down here. In Elliott wave terms, the initial move off an important swing high or low is considered a wave 1. Then the initial correction, which is this one here, following the initial move, is actually considered a wave 2. So we had an important high, a wave 1, a wave 2, therefore we're anticipating a strong wave 3 decline. So therefore I put the analysis on, sorry I missed, if I put the analysis on, we're not aiming for this first target here, we're actually anticipating a decline down into this lower target here. Also, if we put the DP on from this last pivot, if I right mouse click the DP, can you see how we also have DP supporting this area as well? So there's two reasons here why we're thinking that the decline here is going to go down. But the main reason is because this is considered a Holy Grail trade setup because it's a wave 2 and we're anticipating a wave 3 decline down. If we go forward, you can see the market moves up, down, wiggles around. We avoid this TS3 buy setup here because we know the 15-minute chart is down. Remember, we're not using the STF color for an advanced trader, we're using the 15-minute chart. The trend is down, market wiggles around, gets down to this level here. I'll just move the right hand space across just a little bit so it's not quite, if I do it to about 200. There we go, we're across a bit there. In fact, no, I'll do it halfway between. Sorry about this. I'll just make it look a little bit better. That's better. We can see we're now down at this level here. Now we're very, very, very close. You can see when we come down to here, we're very close to this potential profit target and this DP support zone. However, there's one important thing that the advanced traders among you know, and this is what we teach in our training webinars, is that a wave 3, remember this is a wave 2 here, a wave 3 normally subdivides into 5 waves of lesser degree. So I'll just clear the chart off for a second. Now let's have a look at this decline down here. So if I go over here, analysing it with the MTPredictor Elliott Wave tool is really easy. Hover over the bar, right mouse click, do Elliott Wave Intermediate, and can you see now how from this point here MTPredictor has found a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the most important thing is that this blue buy bar here has unfolded basically at the level of this pink zone, which is the typical wave 5 WPT. As the name indicates, this is the typical area where wave 5 swing will actually terminate and a reversal will happen. And if I scroll forward, you can see that's indeed what happened, and actually this actually nailed the very low of the day for you. So it actually caught the very low of the day. So the question being is, if you're now anticipating, if I put the analysis back on, if you're anticipating that you're going to come down to this level here, however we now know that there's a wave 5 low on this bar and you're really, really close to your target, let's just put the risk reward on at the high of this bar here. If I go back again, so at this point in time you'd say, well actually we're close to the Elliott wave wave 5 low, which is what I've put on already. We're sitting on plus 8.7 R profit at this bar high. The probabilities are that this is now the end of a wave 5 and a low's coming in. Can you see how it makes sense to rather than wait for the last couple of ticks profit, we actually start to trail our stop really close to the market by just trailing it just above the bar's highs. And as you can see, that resulted in coming out pretty much at the low of the day for a very nice plus 8.7 R profit. Remember, we use position sizing in MTPredictor, so here we keep our percentage risk the same, in this case a 2% risk on a sample $20,000 account, so that means trading 8 lots on this particular trade setup. Therefore, at the profit target, the profit was approximately, well, $3,400, which is approximately 8.7 times the initial risk of approximately $400. So this is why this trade setup is such a good trade setup, because it represents, or it can find trades where the potential profit is very, very large in relation to the small initial risk. And it's all because we actually consider that our trade setup, in this case an automatic TS1, but it could be a TS3 setup, is a wave 2, and we're then anticipating a strong wave 3 type decline. So do you remember the criteria that I'm looking for? First and foremost, we have an important high or low, and this important high or low was a high on the 15-minute chart. Do you remember we looked at the DP on the 15-minute chart and we saw that that actually nailed the high of the day for us? So an important high, an initial decline, an initial correction, that correction unfolding as an A, B, C into our TS1 or TS3 setup. We consider that a wave 2. We then look for a strong wave 3 decline, and we manage the trade accordingly on that assumption. In this case, we actually then amended it slightly because of the 5-wave pattern as it unfolded, and as you can see, a very nice short trade here for a small initial risk, giving us a plus 8.7 R profit at what's pretty much the low of the day. So a good trade there, and a great example of the MTPredictor Holy Grail trade setup. And this trade setup is what I consider the best trade in the book, because it represents the largest potential profit for the smallest initial risk, which as a trader, that is exactly what we're after when we're looking for trade setups. But the point being is that MTPredictor in our RT add-ons for NinjaTrader in this example here has all the tools available for the advanced traders among you using this software to not only uncover trade setups like this, but also manage them in the way as I've shown here, and as such you should be able to uncover trades like this in your own trading, all with the help and guidance of the MTPredictor tool add-ons for NinjaTrader.